Cause alarm with older workers.
Thank you.
Millions of women especially, who may have to work until they die. More than 1,700 people dead in the Taiwan earthquake. What a difference an honest construction job makes. The government tries to make amends for knowingly poisoning workers in Kentucky. The proof is there. And the U.S. military fighting illegal drugs and getting involved in a civil war.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. We're going to begin tonight with a crisis for millions of Americans who used to believe that their pensions and Social Security and whatever they could save would see them through in a measure of comfort to the end of their days. Tonight they have good reason to believe that they will not make it. And today the Congress began to hear the details of traditional pensions and cash accounts, of how older Americans were going to get messed with because companies were not putting in as much for the older workers at the end of their lives on the job. The closer you are to retirement, the easier this crisis is to understand. Our first report is from ABC's Jackie Judd.
5 million workers, double the number from last year, now have cash balance accounts with their companies. Janet Kruger told Congress today that she suddenly became one of them when IBM, where she had worked all her life, announced it was shifting from the traditional retirement plan.
If they weren't ripping us off, it wouldn't be a problem.
Kruger calculates she lost 44% of her expected retirement benefits. That's because the old plan based benefits on her salary in later years, creating a kind of balloon effect. Cash balance benefits are based on a set percentage of a worker's salary from day one.
First, it put me in basic disbelief. And then after I thought about it some more, it just made me angrier and angrier.
No one at today's hearing argued that cash balance accounts are inherently bad, just that changing the rules of the game unfairly targets older workers.
And I think the older workers are being gouged because of this.
Senator Harkin and some other Democrats want a law to prevent that from happening. But when it comes to pensions, the trend is clearly away from the certainty of the old days. It used to be that companies would offer only the traditional retirement plan, if that. Today, 22% of the Fortune 100 companies offer up to 4 different plans. In this tight job market, the cash balance accounts are the most popular because they entice younger workers who can take their money as they move from job to job.
The number of new workers coming into the labor force has been growing at a very slow rate, and essentially the needs of the workforce and employment have been changing rapidly.
IBM decided it changed too rapidly and has agreed to let some of its senior people stay in their traditional plan. But in general, tradition is going the way of the American worker who spent a lifetime at a company and then retired in guaranteed comfort. Jackie Judd, ABC News, Washington.
There is more bad news for people facing the retirement crunch. On October the 1st, the Social Security Administration will begin mailing letters to 125 million Americans showing how much each person can expect to earn in Social Security benefits. Social Security can't do it all, is the message. You'll need to supplement your benefits with income from a pension plan, savings, or investments. You can see where this is going. If Social Security isn't enough and pensions are shrinking, ABC Betsy Stark reports it's going to be particularly hard on women.
The harsh reality for millions of American women is that they will probably never be able to retire. In order to survive, they will have to work until they die.
I know people that are working into their late 70s and up into their 80s. Now, a lot of them have cut down, but retirement, the way we dream of it and think of it, doesn't happen to a lot of people.
It has not happened for Beverly Lang. At 74, she works 20 hours a week as a sales clerk to supplement the $800 a month she collects in Social Security. She worked many years, but never long enough for any one employer to qualify for a pension.
May I help you?
Lynn Kenny never imagined she would be working at age 65 until she tried living on $573 a month in Social Security.
I thought that I would get to be that grandmother that baked the cookies and got to have the grandkids over all the time.
Studies show that women are twice as likely as men to face poverty in retirement. Because they have been in and out of the workforce raising children, they are less likely than men to have company pensions. Those who do typically have smaller pensions and smaller Social Security benefits because both are based on earnings, and women still earn just 79 cents on the dollar compared to men. That puts an extra burden on women to save as much as they can.
It's Embassy Suites. How may I help you?
But as 60-year-old Barbara Copeland learned, savings too can evaporate. In her case, caring for a sick husband before he died.
Things that you don't realize. Your savings that you've counted all your life on for retirement can be gone in just a short matter of time.
For many women, retiring to a life of leisure has been impossible for years. Now, with pension shrinking, it can only get worse. Betsy Stark, ABC News, New York.
In other news on the money tonight, one of the largest single-day drops in the stock market this year. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was down more than 225 points to close at 10,598. On the NASDAQ, stocks were down 65 points. Investors are worried about the growing trade deficit and the declining value of the dollar against the Japanese currency. A new study from the giant lender of mortgage money, Freddie Mac, finds that nearly half of black Americans who are eligible for credit have bad credit, compared to less than a third of whites. Freddie Mac, which wants to help more blacks get mortgages, says even when they make the same amount of money as whites, blacks are still likely to have worse credit, and they often have fewer resources to fall back on if they lose a job. Other news, a landmark in the recovery from the Asian economic crisis. Thailand, where the crisis began 2 years ago, told the International Monetary Fund today it will not need an additional $3 billion in loans that had been promised. Overseas tonight in Taiwan, a massive search and rescue operation after that very powerful earthquake. More than 1,700 people have been found dead so far and 4,000 injured. And as with Turkey, last month there are questions about why some buildings stood and others came crashing down. ABC's Mark Lifke begins his report tonight near the epicenter, south of the capital, Taipei.
Thousands of people are still trapped, over 100,000 homeless, most in the counties of Taichung and Nantou. Throughout the day, hundreds of people have been dug from the rubble of collapsed buildings, hope rising with each survivor carried to safety, but all too often, emotional defeat. I tried, he says, but I just couldn't save my family. Hospitals are overwhelmed. The injured are being kept in hallways, even fields. The military has been mobilized to speed relief efforts, but some hard-hit towns haven't been reached because of buckled and twisted roads. Already, there are charges that much of this devastation is the result of shoddy construction, particularly because Taiwan's heavily congested capital escaped almost unscathed. Quake experts say that was partly due to its distance from the epicenter, but even more important, Taipei is a city that seems to have followed its strict building codes. Many structures built with the latest earthquake engineering.
Taipei itself has not been very badly damaged. The buildings that have been badly damaged are ones like this, which are structurally very weak.
This was the worst damage in Taipei, an older 12-story budget hotel that collapsed on itself while every other building nearby survived.
More than 24 hours after the quake, the search goes on for a few people still believed to be buried in this rubble here. But with so few other crises in this area, emergency teams were able to move quickly to help rescue more than 100 people here.
The challenge now is to get more help from the capital out closer to the epicenter where it's needed most. Mark Lifke, ABC News, Taipei.
When we come back, nature's cruelty in North Carolina. More rain and dangerously polluted water. And the danger at the nuclear plant in Paducah, Kentucky. Why didn't the government tell its workers?
I'm going to raise you.
Fold. Too rich for me.
I fold. Call.
A couple of things to remember. One, a full house always beats three of a kind. And two, the new Chevy Silverado has the most powerful V8 of any pickup. Chevy Silverado. It's the truck.
Shut up.
Quaker oatmeal is like a lifeguard. It's always there for you. And after we ate it for 30 days, it helped lower our cholesterol 23 points. So you could say it's a real lifesaver. And it sure is yummy. Quaker oatmeal warms your heart and soul.
Hey, little brother, what you eating? Condensed soup. You know, chicken and stars used to be my favorite, and then I learned to ride a two-wheeler. Come on, you're an adult now. There's a better tasting soup, Progresso chicken noodle, with all white meat chicken, bigger veggies, and seasonings with some real zip. See the difference?
Good stuff.
There's hope for you yet. Now let's talk about this shirt.
What?
Discover the better taste of Progresso.
Along the East Coast today, cleaning up, waiting for the water to recede. The government has ordered disaster aid for New Jersey and Pennsylvania because of Hurricane Floyd. In the southeast today, more rain. Much of Virginia and North Carolina's coastal plain is a dangerous stew of floodwater, sewage, and waste. It's a health crisis in the making, and ABC's Rebecca Chase is in Tarboro, North Carolina tonight.
It was the last thing this state needed, more rain. It was bad for morale, bad for relief efforts, and it added more volume to water that is getting more contaminated every day. Gasoline, oil, natural gas, garbage, dead animals, and even coffins.
We need to advise everybody to stay out of this water. It really is contaminated. The town's working on that problem right now.
With no running water in some communities, drinking water and ice must be brought in. Officials say polluted flood water could lead to a public health crisis.
Right now, as disease outbreaks, that's my greatest worry. Communicable disease outbreaks is my greatest worry at this point.
That's one reason emergency workers are anxious to get flood victims out of crowded shelters and into temporary trailers that started arriving today.
As soon as we can get them set, they'll be in them.
But there is nothing soon about getting the water out of here. With today's rain, roads that had been opened were once again flooded. Rebecca Chase, ABC News, Rocky Mount, North Carolina.
In Washington today, a legacy of the Cold War revealed it's becoming clearer that in the process of developing the country's nuclear arsenal, the government sacrificed the health of workers at a uranium plant in Paducah, Kentucky. Here's ABC's Barry Serafin.
The government knew for decades that workers at the Paducah plant were exposed to dangerous radioactive materials but did not warn them or provide medical screenings. One reason, a fear of higher labor costs. In a 1960 memo revealed today, a government physician wrote, "There are possibly 300 people at Paducah who should be checked out, but they hesitate to proceed to intensive studies because of the union's use of this as an excuse for hazard pay." Paducah employees say radioactive material was dumped in pits and left scattered on floors.
You would actually track the dust and leave your footprints on the floor as you walk through the building.
And you didn't know it was uranium?
No, sir.
You didn't know it contained plutonium?
No, sir.
No one ever told you that?
No, sir.
Energy Secretary Bill Richardson has formally apologized to workers at Paducah.
These were workers that helped us win the Cold War. They deserved better. They may have been contaminated, but a decision was made not to tell them. That's wrong.
Richardson is going to ask Congress to authorize a $20 million program to compensate Paducah employees whose exposure led to cancer and the families of those who have already died. Barry Serafin, ABC News, Washington.
In our next segment, 100 days until the millennium, another Y2K report. Still, the government could be better prepared.
They say a man's home is his castle, so maybe he should clean some of it. Now it's easy with new Lysol all-purpose cleaner in a handy spray. He can be Johnny on the spot. He can clean your vanity. Or his. New Lysol powers away tough grease better than all the rest. And life's easier knowing Lysol kills harmful germs. What a prince. New Lysol all-purpose cleaner. So you have our word on it, you can't call it clean.
Keys are in it.
The Accord V6 Coupe from Honda. It's one powerful car.
There's my husband, Nolan Ryan, still throwing heat. Can you believe he's got arthritis? You see, Nolan's doctor says the best way to control arthritis pain is to keep moving. And to make it easier, he recommends Advil. Nothing's been proven stronger on arthritis pain, yet it's gentle on his stomach. In fact, I take Advil for my arthritis pain. That way, we can exercise together.
Advil, stronger than pain. 28 different children. From 28 different families. With 28 different futures, whose parents all share the need for help making informed decisions on what matters most. Their health, their finances, their future. One name, Aetna, for what matters most.
In the wreckage of East Timor today, there was a warm welcome for thousands of United Nations troops arriving. The fact that UN soldiers arrested some troublemakers was probably reassuring to people still traumatized by the violence. The UN commander says East Timor will still be a dangerous place for weeks. In 20 Yugoslavian cities today, another round of demonstrations against Slobodan Milosevic. It was raining in Belgrade. Maybe 20,000 people turned out. One opposition leader says they will need 2 million people in the streets before Mr. Milosevic will go. And back in Washington today, the Treasury Secretary said he would not support any future lending to Russia until the money was better protected. Larry Summers said he was in favor of helping Russia, but given problems with the rule of law there, it makes more sense, he said, to be more careful. In Washington, the Senate committee in charge of evaluating the country's preparations for the year 2000 computer problem has decided to release its final report tomorrow. It's 100 days tomorrow until the new millennium, and ABC's James Walker has had an early look at the report.
The report says that overall the United States has made enormous progress, that banks, ATM machines, brokerage firms, major phone companies, and large utilities are ready for the millennium. But there are specific problems still. It says local and regional power outages are a distinct possibility, where it does not say. It warns that 800,000 small and medium-sized businesses are extremely unprepared for Y2K. That could disrupt delivery of parts to larger companies. It also warns imported oil shipments could be interrupted because 4 key producers have not fixed their computers. The biggest concern is Medicaid computers in 30 states and the District of Columbia are at considerable risk of failure, jeopardizing health care for millions of Americans.
It would take nothing short of a miracle for all of the hospitals, nursing homes, and clinics to get ready in time.
Chairman Robert Bennett concedes there are no guarantees.
We've never been through anything like this. We just don't know.
Officials do say there is absolutely no cause for people to panic. James Walker, ABC News, Washington.
Here's a reminder of how time passes. Coming off the assembly line, the 100 millionth Volkswagen. In this case, it's a Beetle, made in Mexico. One other number that may interest you, the United Nations has decided that October 12th is going to be the day in which there will be 6 billion people in the world, 247 babies being born every minute. In a moment, the drug war and the civil war. Is the U.S. getting in too deep in Colombia? We'll take a closer look.
World News Tonight with Peter Jennings and a closer look. Brought to you by Aflac. Without it, no insurance is complete.
Why do I have Aflac insurance on top of my regular health insurance? Because she throws like a boy and dances like an angel. Because we've shared the same heartbeat. And because Aflac helps cover what other insurance doesn't. If I'm sick, Aflac even provides cash to help pay bills. So why do I have Aflac? Because I have her. Aflac supplemental insurance. Without it, no insurance is complete.
5 things to consider about the Chevy Impala. It's new. It starts under $20,000. It's designed, engineered, and built to be carefree. It's at your Chevy dealer now. It's received the highest frontal crash rating possible. 5 stars from the federal government. The new Chevy Impala. As USA Today put it, It's a lot more car than you imagine, at a lower price than you expect. The new Chevy Impala.
Let's go for a drive.
I think the most important feeding is the one that you start in the fall, so your lawn starts to look healthier in the spring, and consequently, you need Scott's Winterizer. When I put down Winterizer in the fall, it allows us to develop a good, strong root base, and it allows the lawn to endure the winter weather, and you get a real early greening. This grass is beautiful, thick, deep green. People will stop by and say, "How'd you do that?" Scott's Winterizer gives the grass a kickstart in the fall and makes it really look great in the spring.
Ask your doctor about Viagra.
There are those among us with very simple tastes. They only want the best. And for them, there's Fancy Feast gourmet cat food. Exceptionally moist and delicious. Fancy Feast. Good taste is easy to recognize.
We have been taking a closer look at the possibility that the Clinton administration is wading into a civil war in the name of a war on drugs. In New York today, President Clinton met with the Colombian president. He wants more than $1 billion from Washington to fight drug production and to fight anti-government guerrillas who are very much involved in the drug trade in Colombia. As we said last night, the U.S. military is already pretty involved in Colombia, and yet more and more Colombian cocaine and heroin is getting to the United States. Therefore, the question is, what now? ABC's Deborah Amos has just returned from Colombia.
American soldiers training the Colombian Marines here to fight the drug war. But Americans are also training a military that is deeply engaged in a civil war. Most American aid comes to this country to fight the drug war, not Colombia's guerrilla war. But in practical terms, the two wars have become the same.
It's totally impossible to fight a drug war and not step into the civil war.
Most Colombians, on whatever side, believe the U.S. is coming here to fight their civil war, a war involving the guerrillas, the army, right-wing death squads, too. A war with so much violence that travel in this country is very dangerous. So many kidnappings that ranchers are often too afraid to visit their own property. They buy and sell cattle using videotape to see what they are getting.
We are at war. And in the sense that we can strengthen ourselves to fight this war, we'll be better off.
But the U.S. is now getting more deeply involved with an army that has a long history of human rights abuses. A military that still has links with paramilitary death squads who target anyone who supports the guerrillas.
There has been a tendency to tolerate paramilitary activities on the part of the regular forces. That is changing, too.
Washington says it will only work with soldiers who have a clean human rights record. Colombia says it is reforming the military, even holding what it calls human rights training, which they are eager to show for the cameras. Here, soldiers demonstrate how they would treat a captured guerrilla. There is some skepticism about whether the training will make any difference. The Pentagon insists it wants no part of Colombia's civil war. Colombia's president, Andres Pastrana, insists no U.S. troops will ever see combat here.
There will never be foreign troops or U.S. troops fighting guerrilla or other type of fight in this country.
He may be right, but this may also be the beginning of America's involvement in another dangerous war in Latin America. Deborah Amos, ABC News, Bogota, Colombia.
Here's an attitude in Colombia that's old, though it's a recent poll. More Colombians said they blame for the flourishing drug trade should go to American drug users and not the producers in Colombia. So tomorrow we'll see how, we'll try to illustrate how the money spent there might be spent fighting drugs here. When we come back this evening, what is 6 times the size of Buenos Aires and floats?
Aren't there enough reasons in your life to talk to your doctor about Zocor? To learn more about Zocor, ask your doctor. Zocor, be there.
Right now, see more trucks than an all-night diner during the GMC Summer Convoy. Pickups, SUVs, and family vans. 2 million tons of professional-grade trucks, designed better than they need to be. Like the GMC Sierra, with a larger cab and more V8 horsepower than the Ford F-150 or Dodge Ram extended cab pickups. Come in and make your own comparisons today. This is one convoy you don't want passing you by.
Wind tunnel by Hoover picks up more dirt than any other clean air upright. And you can get one that's self-propelled.
My dentures always fit fine. I never thought of them as a problem until I saw the video of my son's wedding. It was then that I decided to try Fixodent.
Because Fixodent adjusts to the unique contours of your dentures and gums, forming a thin, powerful seal for a better hold than you ever thought possible.
It was like a whole new feeling, so snug and secure. For once, I actually forgot that I even wore dentures. So now, I like what I see.
Find out for yourself what it feels like to Fixodent and forget it.
Before he meets your parents,
In trouble. I didn't do anything. It was
he ought to
hard.
meet your kids.
Mom?
From the producers of 30-something and Shakespeare in Love.
Tell me you missed a button.
Once and Again, ABC Tonight, 10/9 Central.
Next on Channel 2 News, Oregon's new area code gets put on hold. We'll show you what's behind the delay. Plus, a local member of Mercy Corps lived through the Taiwan earthquake. He'll give us a first-hand account. I'm Kathy Marshall. Local news is next.
So finally from us this evening, lurking in the waters off the coast of Argentina. That is one enormous iceberg, 43 miles long, 13 miles wide, 6 times the size of Argentina's capital, Buenos Aires. 200 feet of it is above the surface, 900 feet below. They call it B10A.
And that little fly speck off to the side is B10A.
It broke off from the Antarctic Peninsula 1,300 miles away about 7 years ago.
It's stress fractures, shear weight, finally melting enough for it to float free in the water and then break off.
So might it run into Argentina now? Not very likely. But it is a threat to the shipping lanes when it breaks up into smaller pieces. As of now, that is one enormous iceberg on the loose. That's our report on World News Tonight. On Nightline this evening, they're going to take a look at the Taiwan earthquake. I'm Peter Jennings. Have a good evening. See you tomorrow. Good night.
Tomorrow, spending the money at home. Sending billions overseas isn't working. The government's losing battle with drugs. Watch ABC's World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source.
This is KATU, the power of 2000. Now, Channel 2 News.
There's been a delay.